the episode goes on, I'm sure. Right, hello everyone. Welcome to yet another Tosh news. It's been a hell of a week, to put it to put it politely, I think. First things first, it's the standard weekly meme. I couldn't get this to fit on the page properly, so you're just gonna have to do with that. um, so what were you? We're on episode 10. We're on episode 10. There you go. So, episode 10 of Tosh News. As we always start with now, it's the meme. You two can obviously see it in the Discord. It's the where does it all go? UK tax burden at its highest in over 70 years. Where does it all go? Well, 71.9%, or about 100 billion, nearly a trillion of it, goes to the woke. Just over 900 billion goes on woke stuff. It's nuts. And where does another 350 odd billion go? It goes on immigrants. It's either all woke stuff or all immigrants. And the other stuff that we like, that can all be done in about 400 million. That's all you need. Yeah, it's absolutely true. And I'm expected to keep paying for this. I've been going nuts to people on Pip, by the way. I'm not even joking on that. There's been TikToks of like people in wheelchairs and other people walking normally, like, oh, we're going to a Pip march. We don't want our benefits gone. And I was like, what are your job scroungers? And one of them gave me about 4 jobs, and like I'm also at university. And I was like, well, you don't need my money then. You have 4 jobs. Why do you need my money? To which I've barely had a reply yet. But that's TikTok for you.
I mean, I don't follow this advice myself, but I do think people should take whatever they can get.
What do you mean?
If you can get benefits and stuff, take it, because someone who's probably worse than you isn't going to mind. But
I have thought about it.
Take everything you can. But it's a pride. For me, there's a bit of a pride problem with it.
There is a pride problem. There's definitely a pride problem.
Especially being someone who would personally like to see it all destroyed. But I'd say, the one thing, no matter who you are, I'd always try to, you should always try to live within the, I wouldn't include whatever money you're getting through benefits as part of your, like, what you're living on. No, put that away, put it in some sort of investment, but try to live with what you can make without that, if you know what I mean.
I just want to take benefits off everyone, to be honest.
Oh, like, so do I.
Screw people, you know. It has been quite funny. I've been looking at Max Temper's feed a bit today, and he had a whole thread of of doctors on Reddit basically saying, I'm just getting so fed up that I'm like a junior GP, and there are people with like Down syndrome coming in who end up on about, you know, after tax, 50 the equivalent of like £50,000 a year. It's like that's the top 10% of earners by the way.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
Jeez. I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah. Just buy a walking stick and you can get yourself on Pip. Oh my. As I keep saying, it's actually a total lottery on whether you get Pip easily or not. I've known people to take over a year to get it, and I've known people to get it first try. It's nuts.
Well, we've sort of talked about this, and it's generally we seem to think that the people who do actually need it more are more honest about what they can do, whereas the others will just lie and say, no, I can't do anything. Nah. Get out of bed? Nah, can't do that.
It depends on...
Take a shower? No.
Well, I've heard... Well, it can depend on the caseworker too. I've heard stories of, like, some of those honest people are like, you know, I can do most of it. It's just, you know, I've got arthritis in my knees or something, so getting up and down I need sticks for. And then when they see the caseworker's review, they, like, make them out to be a cripple. It's to actually get them on the benefits that they should be on. But obviously some people just get people that assume everyone's a fraud. It's just nuts. Anyway, international news. Has there been any international news? I'm really not that good with keeping up with the international news.
I think there's been a bunch of Tesla terrorism in the US.
There's been a bit of
that
Tesla terrorism,
up.
Who cares? You know, left have gone bananas. They're doing more vandalism. Yeah, I lived through 2020. I remember all the people in the streets burning down buildings. I'm not Yeah. Oh, Mark Carney, ex-Bank of England guy, he's now
Oh,
Canadian Prime Minister.
yeah.
Which
And he called an election for August, I think.
Well, yeah, he probably should, because after what
Yeah.
Trump's done, it's put everyone off being right-wing in Canada from the looks of it.
They're such cucks.
Thanks, Trump. Yeah. I don't know.
Democrats. Well,
What have they
meanwhile,
done?
in the US, the Democrats seem to just be completely imploding and have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
That will be interesting because they are having an existential crisis. It's going to be interesting to see what they actually do about the whole thing.
What didn't they? I don't know if it was this week, but wasn't there a thing about like pick your fighter, just some like Street Fighter thing that they were trying to do?
Yeah.
I think that's Super Smash Brothers, that meme. Yeah.
See, oh yeah.
But the Democrats did. Yeah, that was bad.
I was almost a bit like umming and erring about mentioning it because I genuinely wasn't sure if I just like hallucinated it, just
yeah.
kind of reality stranger than fiction kind of thing.
There seems to be a big portion of what's left in the US Democrats that think, right, we need to be even more left wing and gay. It's really not going to work for them.
Why are they like
They're
this,
welcome, because we're not going to get certain somebody who we won't name. We won't wind him up, but the right wing seem to be trying to, give them every. So we need the left to keep stepping on their own feet because currently the online right seems to also want to step on their own feet. So we need every advantage we can get.
Well, we'll get to that. For now, we'll go through related to the meme. Rachel Reeves has a £15 billion black hole to fill. Well, maybe, just maybe. Oh God, just maybe. Right, this is my advice. Don't spend your money on woke stuff. That's my advice.
To the 22 billion. I feel like that got forgotten.
I can't even be bothered to get into it properly. It's just, it's always nonsense.
Imagine spending 15 billion on Rachel Reeves' black hole.
It's such a funny thing. Labour upped spending by like 70 billion or something and ended up having to borrow about 30 billion. And now they're like, oh, we can't actually do that. Now we have to cut benefits. Which, all right, we have to cut benefits, but we're not realising the issue with that is to actually fund 18 billion to go to Mauritius to take our land. So it's just
that's nothing. The Mauritius judge at the UN who said we've got to pay for Mauritius, he's now said we've got to pay, I think, £18 trillion to the Caribbean for slavery.
Oh, cool. Oh,
I think like
more money for woke
Cero.
stuff. No way. Oh,
Cero's in for a payday.
If only.
Sarah's going to start speaking pidgin English every stream he's on now, just to
yeah, man,
just to get the money.
No, the problem is I'll go to the office, they'll get a swatch up, and they'll be like,
Oh, are you just
not
on the,
quite there?
Are you just on the slave owner's side?
It depends on the time of year. It's that sensitive.
So okay, so you're going to wait until mid-August to get your swatch.
Mid-August. Yep.
Great.
And then I'll be like, yeah.
Oh God. Well, I'd rather you just go on PIP, to be honest. I'd rather you just break your leg and go on PIP, to be honest.
I mean, I genuinely had a conversation with my wife about it. Just like, every great conversation starts with your significant other with, I'm a little bit, I'm very autistic, aren't I?
Yeah. Just say you're autistic.
Well, no, I don't need to say it. It's true. And so I'm just like, I also didn't want to use the R word because I'm not sure where we stand on that.
Not the Alex Jones.
Well, I like monetization.
I'm kind of retarded.
Well, I like. All right, let me rephrase that. I did like my monetization. When
I was trying so hard.
I mean,
okay,
I'm not being funny.
We'll just do Alex Jones for the rest of the stream.
Oh God, no. Anyway, when Rachel Reeves delivered her first budget last autumn, she took one critical decision that would come back to haunt her. Against total government expenditure of 1.2 trillion, the Chancellor put aside a contingency fund of just 10 billion to meet her fiscal rules that the government would not borrow to fund day-to-day spending before the end of the decade. And now they need to borrow about 30 billion or something.
I thought the decision that came back to haunt her was lying on her resume, but okay, here we are.
There's a lot of poor decisions, but I think this is specifically a decision made in the budget that they're talking about, to be fair.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't wind it. They didn't narrow it down, did they?
No, it was. Yeah, delivered her first budget. Yeah, no, that's pretty narrow.
Okay.
Anyway, this is our. This is literally the meme. Welfare, woke. Health, woke. Debt interest, woke. Education, woke. Local councils, other. Devolved, woke.
There's probably woke as well.
To be fair, welfare's that's almost the exact same figure as the immigrant one on the meme, by the way.
Yeah.
So great stuff. Growth is about 1.2% weaker than it was in October, while consumer prices are about 0.4% higher. Meanwhile, government borrowing rates are between 0.25 and 0.5% higher now than expected last autumn, and tax receipts are 7.7 billion below the forecast in the first 10 months of the past financial year. It's so funny whenever I make a video about economics and I bring up the Laffer curve and how you're gonna get diminishing returns on taxes now. Everyone, a load of leftists find it and they're like, "Oh, you said Laffer curve, oh, what a meme!" And I'm like, "How do you explain the fact that we're getting less tax receipts? You idiot!"
Aren't they the ones who are actually pushing the whole idea of the fixed pie?
Yes,
as the idea.
Yeah,
it's actually it's the right wingers or the more libertarian types that say that the pie can actually be changed. Sorry, chat. Sorry, Tharium, go for it.
I was going to say, yeah. Normally, what they're saying is that the right wing sort of types is that the pie can get bigger. It also gets smaller when all the millionaires and billionaires leave.
Well, exactly. No, exactly. So, yeah, that's what I meant, sort of economics wise. And at the end of the day, you know, the closer that you get to 100% taxation, there is a hard cutoff for this. There is only so much that you can get from people.
Yep.
And lo and behold, if someone can't pay their bills, they go bankrupt. Well, now they're going to be paying less tax.
If Labour end up putting in a wealth tax, I'm going to laugh so hard. That will be the end of them if they put in a wealth tax. And finally, the Greens can shut up about it and realise it's a bad idea. Ugh, honestly. So as a result, the OBR, the fiscal watchdog, is expected to conclude that borrowing will be roughly 15 billion higher than in 2029 and 2030 than in October, wiping out Reeves' headroom and leaving her with a budget hole of 5 billion. So she's okay with borrowing 10 billion, right? Just bear in mind, people, right? Debt interest is our third highest. You know? Actually, no, it's 10. Oh, no, it is our third. And then fourth is education, fifth is other. Actually, technically, welfare isn't the most. Welfare includes state pension, because that is technically a benefit. But that really should be split.
Woke.
It's very woke, yeah. I'm shocked the pension isn't means tested, to be honest with you. The question is, how does she intend to fill it? The Chancellor has already ruled out increasing taxes or borrowing more. Don't believe that for a second. So all the shortfall will come from spending. She also needs to build another buffer in case it gets even worse. Oh, there's going to be so... Slash it. So could do welfare cuts for 5 billion. I believe that's what... Well, that is PIP, isn't it? That's, yeah. Change the assessment for the criteria for PIP and freezing incapacity benefits. The changes have already been scored by the OBR, so Reeves will be able to use this money, but there is a significant political cost. For the first time, impact assessments will be published alongside the spring statement, revealing how many people have been hit by the cuts and to what extent. Initial estimates suggest that more than 2 million people will be worse off. Yeah, but bear in mind, people, that's your money that they're taking. Yeah. Public spending, 5 billion. She's trying to cut. How's that only 5 billion? I thought the point was that every department has a 5% cut. How's that only 5 billion? She is expected to lower current plans to increase public spending by 1.3% a year over the course of Parliament to 1.1%. This may be likely to mean that real-term cuts for unprotected departments, those outside the NHS and Ministry of Defence. Oh my god, it's just like what George Osborne did. Everyone called that austerity.
Well, they're going to start saying that about this, and that Labour's actually right wing.
Yeah.
People have already been saying the Labour's
Yeah,
right wing.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, they don't realise that we've had a left-wing country for basically since the end of Major. Or, well, no, maybe not the end of it. It took a while for Blair to really lean into making everything woke. But yeah, we've had tax and spend really as the kind of common orthodoxy, if you will, economic orthodoxy for, as Liz Truss says, decades. Anti-growth coalition. And I was listening to the news today, and they've only just said that they're going to put the Thames tunnel in place. That was planned initially in 2009. It's taken, 16 years to get it through consultation and everything. It cost hundreds of billions of pounds, hundreds of millions, sorry, of pounds, just to get the paper together to say it's all okay and the impact assessments and what have you. It's tens of thousands of pages long. It's nuts.
Which tunnel is this? Is it alongside the Dartford tunnel?
Dartford Bridge, yeah, it's next to Dartford Bridge. I think it's going.
So there's already a tunnel there.
All right, well they're making another. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Dartford Tunnel's kind of pretty well known.
It might be for people in the south. I live up north, don't I? I don't know what goes on in your crazy rich areas.
True, actually.
I mean, you know I love tunnels, so they did the right thing there.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, it's going to be 4 kilometers long or something. Hundreds of millions into looking into how it's all gonna, impact assessments and what have you. 10,000 pages long, and then it's going to cost 9 billion or something to make. And we should have. Why didn't we start that when we had 1% interest rates? Why didn't we make this infrastructure then? Oh, because Blair hates everyone. I don't know. Anyway, change to the aid budget. Yeah, that's foreign aid and cutting civil service numbers. Yeah, I'm just very disappointed by all these low numbers. Only 2 billion from the civil service. Oh, that's 50,000 jobs. Is that it? Come on, Reeves, you can do better than that. She's got to do better. Anyway, we're taking money out of government, says Starmer, as cuts loom. This is pretty much the same thing, to be honest. I didn't realise it'd be that similar, but there we go. Oh yeah, the TUC are not happy. The unions are not happy that they're losing jobs. Ugh.
I do wonder what the response would be if Labour just decided, let's do a full Doge. We're going to go really hard into just slashing the state.
Mm. Oh, well, it's so funny. Labour keep going on about trying to make their own Doge, and it's always so. It's limp.
Yeah, but if they actually decided, you know what, we're tired of being leftists.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that. The problem is they're not going to do that because obviously they're basically run by the unions, and the unions don't want to lose jobs because they need public sector jobs for their members.
No, you're missing it all out. You see, Aaron, because
go on.
What happens is when you get a whiff of masculinity, you saw what it did to Mark Zuckerberg. He built a bit of muscle. He changed his hair, and suddenly he's almost human. And what happened with Keir Starmer is he put on the army jacket, and he was just thinking to himself, this whole masculinity thing's really good. And then he's thinking, okay, well, what about traditional values? He woke up in the night, he dreamed for the first time. That's what I think is happening here. Yeah, he's going to go just full right wing. That's absolutely true, 100%.
Well,
I don't think he's convinced.
Well, maybe. Anyway, yeah. Public sector going to lose jobs. Public sector unions not happy. Who would have thunk? Education Secretary suggests end of free school meals for some infants. I don't know why it would be infants who lose a school meal first. I don't know why they didn't do it the old-fashioned way of losing it for 16 to 18-year-olds with the milk. Margaret Thatcher did the younger ones for later.
Are infants in school?
I mean, yeah, I was going to say.
I have no idea.
I mean, how old are we talking about infants? That's 2 or 3, right?
Infant is pre-toddler, right? Or around the time of toddler, yeah.
Well, I always remember my old school being referred to as infant school. I'm talking reception to year 2.
Preschool, right?
No, I'm talking reception to year 2.
Reception makes sense to me.
That's 4 to 7. Anyway, we'll find out. Bridget Phillipson is suggesting cutting school spending by 500 million and ending universal free school meals for infants as part of negotiations with the Treasury ahead of spending review. The Secretary has also offered to axe funding for free period products in school, as well as dance music PE schemes as part of the potential savings. I didn't even realise period products were given out for free in schools either. I don't remember them being sent out of mine, but again, I went private, so I don't know if that was, school savings. Still, dance, fair, music. Oh, I like music. PE schemes, though. I'd probably keep them. The controversial proposals are a part of a package of measures being put forward by Phillipson as the Treasury looks for cuts up to 11% across Whitehall department budgets. Another thing that's really funny, actually, is the whole private school having VAT slapped on them. Wasn't the whole point that public schools could be better funded, and now they're having to be cut?
Yeah.
I have people telling me the Laffer curve doesn't exist in my comments. Like, screw left wingers. Honestly, I'm going scorched earth on a lot of people this week. As part of the proposed efficiency drive, Phillipson has suggested the school budget be reduced from 64 billion by around 500 million in savings and efficiencies. The Turing scheme, which pays UK educational providers to support students seeking to study abroad, has also been offered up to the Treasury. Other spending identified in the bottom 20% of the lowest value for money include free school meals for infants. Currently, the programme is universal, meaning all children in reception year 1 and 2 are eligible. Yeah, so it's the first 3 years who are going to lose their free lunches. I'm kind of shocked it's that section that's losing it.
Yeah.
Again, when it was the milk, it was older pupils that lost it first, not the youngest. That's very odd. Government sources said...
Does this mean I can throw the milk snatcher back in their face?
Yeah, so they're trying to get rid of lunches for for babies. They're trying to starve babies.
I feel like that's worse than anything that Margaret Thatcher did, like even remotely.
Well, again, the milk snatching thing's I nearly swore, is absolutely ridiculous because the milk snatching was done by Labour for the older pupils, as I keep going on about. That was way more, and Margaret Thatcher just extended the scheme because savings had to be made. That's all that happened. Whereas as far as I'm aware, school lunches are free for everyone. Yeah, in fact, no, it's universal, and the youngest are getting it first. Go on.
Do you think that the NHS should tell Labour that children need food?
Maybe watched it. Do you think the government's run by Sri Lankans or something?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, got you. For people who don't know,
I feel like there's a joke. I was going to say
it's a reference. It's a reference to another article that's we don't have it in this, but I think the title was Sri Lankan woman wins case against the NHS because the NHS didn't tell her that she needs to feed her baby, something like that.
So it died.
Did it die or did
Was
it
that
just
Sri
get
Lankan?
malnourished?
It died, yeah.
It was Sri Lankan.
I remember a story like that. Wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, it's quite old. Yeah.
This was
a Muslim.
This was a new one. It's happened a few times.
No, yeah, the one I was
means-
thinking of,
yeah.
I think, was a Syrian woman,
Yeah.
and
Probably.
my wife was shocked. She was just like, I thought it was kind of a bit of an innate thing
Yeah.
that you
Yeah,
just know to feed your
I've
baby.
seen there's one also with a Nigerian couple as well. So it's happened a
Yes.
few times that these people just
Oh.
don't feed their babies,
Well, I mean,
and then they blame the NHS.
Well, I'm not being funny, but was the baby a girl? Did they want it? Are they trying to find someone other than them to blame? Questions like that need to come up, I think.
It's a very fair point because
Because there's
there-
misogyny
there
in
is-
other cultures. I agree. Yeah.
I mean-
this is true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like wherever they come from, they don't feed babies. They know how this works, right? So that's just pathetic excuse.
Mm.
Oh my god, what is wrong with the Times?
But and actually,
I'm surprised at that. The Times are generally in favour of scrapping school meal for infants. I'm so confused. Look, I want to get rid of benefits, don't get me wrong. But, you do it in stages. And typically for school meals, I'd get rid of it for the older people first.
Time
yeah.
food is a leftist.
If for no...
I mean, just...
if for no... I'll just quickly finish this. If for no other reason that if you have older kids, odds are you're further in your career and can afford them better. There are women families who are in their early 20s with kids going to school at this age, and I don't think it's actually reasonable to expect them to have this change put on them straight away. But yeah, whatever. Go on, Sarah.
I was just saying, just as far as a vote winner, generally speaking, you uh, as cynical as it sounds, it's probably not a good idea to start with the ones that seem more vulnerable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Well,
and
this is why Pip's so hard to cut, isn't it?
and there's why Labour. I am baffled at Labour's decision to target first the old people and then the infants.
No, the old people makes total sense because they vote Tory. So kill off the people who vote for your political enemies.
You make a good point.
I mean, this is the thing. It's like people said about immigration for ages. The best thing you can do now is just, quietly say slash it, but in public be like, no, Labour, stop slashing. What are you doing? No, oh God, no, you're starving the children. Yes, no, don't do it. Yeah, stuff like that. Let them cut as much as they can. That's what I'm saying, because it's much easier for Labour to do it, and then Tories or Reform to just not put them back. But,
once there's a precedent for it.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, the Tories or Reform, they've got to come in and just put it out of its misery after Labour's cut it.
You'd hope so. You'd hope that's what would happen. Anyway, Heathrow forced to shut down because of net zero. I can kind of give people the long and short of this. So, actually, I think
I only found out about this today because my wife walked into the office and said, "Oh, did you hear about the airport?" And I was like, "What?" Because I was showing her the meme from from in the Discord about the pilot, and she was like, "Oh, did you hear about the airport?" And I was just like, "No, what happened?"
Well,
and that's all I found out about it.
Well, Cero's just outed himself as not watching my videos, so thanks for that.
Not the latest one.
Oh, all right. It's not actually the latest one; it's the one before, but still. You didn't watch my Monday video. Boo.
I'll catch up.
It's been
a busy week.
Well, you're fine.
I've been working 12-hour days last week.
Oh wow, that's great.
Mercy.
That's great. You've probably just funded a car for someone with mild autism. Well done.
I wish I could find a car for myself with mild autism.
Well, you can make the most of it while you can.
Don't tempt me because I've genuinely been considering.
Right, here's my advice. Right, when you go see the doctor, make zero eye contact. I
already do that.
Oh, there you go. Well, easy.
Well, you've got to game it to the maximum autism you can.
Yeah.
I don't like them. They turn the freaking frogs gay. Is that autism?
Either that or just start naming off Roman emperors.
Yeah.
Augustus.
Well, that's
the Alex Jones stuff will get you a prevent call. That's the wrong.
Octavian, Julius, Nero. Actually, I'm going to start embarrassing myself. Aurelius. I've actually forgotten most of them. This is really bad. Carry on.
Okay.
Back to the Times.
So, this is the Telegraph, actually. So,
the Telegraph.
More than 1,300 flights to and from the UK's busiest airport were cancelled or turned away after it was forced to close following the fire that knocked out the electricity substation. Richard Tice, the Deputy Leader of Reform, said he had been told by an industry expert that the airport changed its backup system from a diesel generator to an environmentally friendly biomass version, which is effectively a glorified wood chip burner, by the way. As far as I can tell, I did this in my own video, Heathrow did a 2022 report about how they're going to go to net zero, and moving away from diesel backup generators was one of the things that they were going to change to get to net zero. And so this is basically true.
Yeah. One thing I didn't get about this though, is that it's a wood burning stove basically. Yeah. That's not net zero.
Well, it is, because the fuel comes from trees that are sourced, renewably. So they just replant the trees they chop down for wood chips. That's
right, but you're still releasing carbon.
Yeah, but
it's
the point is
net.
Yeah, but it's offset. It's offset by the fact they replant the forest. Yeah, I know. Look, I know it's nonsense. I know it's nonsense, Tharium, but that's the argument.
I just love the fact that we've gone full circle and now coal is effectively green again. Well, I'm happy.
Well, the funniest thing I found about this whole thing was people making fun of Tice, thinking, "Oh, you think backup generators can manage to power an entire airport? Don't you know it takes as much power as a small city?" The thing is, I've read into it. Like, the generators are supposed to at least keep runways running. It's
Yeah.
supposed to keep the field lights on so that they can keep the runways running at the very least, and this couldn't do it. It takes like hours to fire up, and then when it does fire up, it can only put on some critical systems. I was listening to to Radio 4 about it, and basically everyone who came on who was an industry expert was basically saying, yeah, this is massively embarrassing. Should never happen.
I mean, the old diesel generators would have managed.
Well, yeah, as I say, it would have managed critical systems to keep at least a runway working. I think that's the idea of it. But yeah, it's 25,000 tons of wood chips.
You don't see what was it, windmills and solar panels outside of every like actual piece of industry. There's always a big diesel generator somewhere. Diesel is very, very good.
Like hospitals, which is really critical. They're not counting on that.
Airports, anything like that. Big diesel generators.
Well, I do find it really funny that Heathrow sources insisted it's not true that traditional fossil fuel systems would have been able to keep the power on. What's the point of a backup generators if it's not to keep power on? Why have them? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I've not got the article here, but there was another article that said actually there were 2 alternate substations that probably could have provided power. I think there was some regulation that stopped them being switched on or something like that. It's just, we're a normal island. That's all I can say. It's just crazy how there's a bottleneck like this to the biggest airport one of the biggest airports in the world. Sorry, it's not the biggest, but it's massive. And yeah, counter-terror.
It's the biggest one in this country for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's the fourth busiest in the world.
Yeah. Counter-terrorism police were investigating the fire. I don't think they've found anything yet though, but probably wouldn't surprise me too much. So yeah, and then they just got on about net zero. So that was fun. Met Police pulled armed officer from number 10 during BLM march. An officer who was seriously injured at the protest when she fell from her horse accused the force of jeopardising the safety of Downing Street. Again, this is the Black Lives Matter for... This was 5 years ago, Black Lives Matter.
Is there a joke in here? Is there a joke in here for women drivers?
No, there might be one about breathing, though.
Oh, no.
the Met... It's kind of amazing to me how that's generally become a meme instead of like the kind of death of Christ it was 5 years ago. I've seen at least 2 videos in America of like basically white people having handcuffs put on them, say like I can't breathe, like laughing about it. And then there was one I think in Britain, 2 plainclothes officers were arresting a black guy, and the black guy started saying I can't breathe, and the police just told him to shut up.
I mean, that's the thing, like before George Floyd, they always did that. They're always going, oh, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Whenever you're putting handcuffs on.
Yeah. It's well, I mean, I know it's old news, but it's the amazing thing about the George Floyd thing is, one, how was Derek Chauvin in jail? Well, obviously political reasons, but no, the big thing I have is the toxicology. Sorry, the post mortem was like, oh, he had enough fentanyl in him to kill a rhino, and there was no damage to his throat. Yeah, he died
4
from
times
strangulation.
the lethal limit.
Yeah. Just crazy how that was public and didn't go anywhere.
But don't you know that some people can build up a tolerance?
Yeah, that was what his lawyer said. George Floyd loved his fentanyl so much that 4 times the lethal limit could never kill him.
No, and he definitely didn't just down his entire supply before the cops arrived. But of course, if for our censors at YouTube, obviously we disavow all of these speculations.
Quite.
Or at least, I don't know.
No, I'm not racist. The Metropolitan Police allegedly ordered armed officers defending Downing Street to withdraw during violent clashes at the BLM protest. Court papers showed that Scotland Yard chiefs pulled away armed police from the gates of number 10 over fears activists might grab their guns and use them during the 2020 anti-racism rally. It's so funny. Like, oh, armed guards. They're so averse to using them for anyone approaching them. Like, it's like the Manchester Airport thing that Reform are currently Reform managed to get the CPS onto, where I mean, it's pretty nuts that they didn't get shot. To be quite honest with you, and they probably should have been, as I've said
especially
before.
in airports. Airports are places you don't screw around in.
Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't actually thinking of that one. I was thinking of the who was the guy in the car who tried to ram the police who got shot. Because I think the argument came up there that if he got out and grabbed a gun, it would have been dangerous. So he needed to, they obviously needed to shoot him. And people are like, doesn't this just mean that every armed officer then has a reason to shoot you if you approach them?
Yes.
It's like, yeah, they do. That's the point.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Chris Cabber, thank you, Tory Rebuttal.
I mean, like, there's so plenty of US police body camera where if they're holding off and people rush towards them, they get in fights, and that can be really dangerous as they're wrestling for the gun and stuff. So yeah, you do just shoot them, mag dump them.
Yes. Well, maybe not. Maybe you don't need to mag dump, but
they mag dump in the US.
Yeah, I know. Approve. Yeah, I know, but that. So court papers showed that Scotland Yard chiefs pulled away armed police from the gates number 10 over fears activists might grab their guns and use that. I already read that. They have denied that Downing Street was left vulnerable and said the site was fully protected by armed officers throughout. The claims have been made in a lawsuit brought by an officer who suffered a collapsed lung, broken collarbone, and shattered ribs during the disorder when her horse bolted. Oh, I take it that's her. Oh. I mean, usually not even usually, I'm pretty sure it's law when you're riding a horse, especially in public, you have to wear, like, obviously a helmet, but you also need a body armor type thing, like padding.
Really, you need that now?
I think you need it in public.
I feel like that would just make riding more difficult.
No.
But to be fair, it's been a very long time since I fell off a horse, so
yeah, I mean, if you're landing on tarmac like that, I can understand. Maybe it's not law, but it's certainly. I'd be shocked if it's not, like, procedure for police. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, police riot horse police is one thing. Yeah, they should be armored.
So, well, that's what I mean. I'm kind of shocked that, like, I think something else must have happened to her if she suffered a collapsed lung and shattered rib. I can maybe understand from a fall.
Did the peaceful protesters get to her?
Well, from the way that she's fallen, actually, that could actually cause that does look like at least rib damage to me.
This isn't the one that got clotheslined by a roadside.
Was it not?
No, I don't think this is the one that got clotheslined. I mean, that. Obviously, I was on the police side for that whole thing, but I really hope she wasn't injured. But that did look quite funny. But
two things can be true at once. One of my friends somewhere, and it's probably lost to history, but there's a picture of me failing a backflip and landing directly on my face, and my friend managed to get a picture of it. We're still trying to find it to this day, but yeah, it's like I'm very lucky that I, wasn't, paralyzed for the rest of my life. But at the same time, it was also hilarious. Like, even at the time, I found it funny.
Yeah. Aye. So
He seems to find it less funny. Sorry, carry on.
So Nicky Vernon is suing the Met and believing that the decision to withdraw armed guards from the gates contributed to the events which led to her injuries. Largely because I think because she means withdrawing rather than actually trying to disperse probably caused an issue. But obviously, could you imagine in the middle of Black Lives Matter if there was a headline that's like Met shoot 5 people at BLM riot? Like, I could
finally.
Like, I can understand why they made that decision, but I hate this woke world, is the way I'd put it.
We need another Peterloo.
To me. The Mail on Sunday reported that her lawyer claims that armed police usually on duty outside number 10 have been removed because officers were coming under attack by a now very hostile and violent crowd. It does just scream volumes of this country, doesn't it? A hostile and violent crowd is seen, police withdraw.
Mostly peaceful, hostile and violent crowd.
Wow, yeah.
Armed police at that withdraw.
I mean, again, it's really not helping the two-tier accusations on the British government, is it? Violence erupted at the BLM protest, at the mostly peaceful protest, we should say, in June 2020 as protesters rallied in the capital as part of the global unrest after the murder of George Floyd by an American police officer in Minneapolis. that surely is going to be overturned, that case, by Trump, surely.
I think he said that he wasn't interested,
Oh,
which
boo.
surprised some people. Yeah.
Boo.
It actually is a bit of a complicated one because the problem is that multiple things are true at once. One, which is that Derek Chauvin actually it was the police guy, wasn't it, Derek Chauvin?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was also, this wasn't his first rodeo with complaints, but at the same time, the murder charge is false. So it's kind of, if this is,
Let's be fair. He doesn't want another summer of riots.
yeah, basically.
Like, I'm afraid that's just the reality of the situation.
Though the other
No,
guy,
but
Daniel Penny, I think that he was pardoned, and that's
he was,
absolutely
yeah.
fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely fair.
Anyway, yeah.
I don't know. We could have a Trumpaloo.
Again,
I just saw the reference to whole.
I just don't. I can just see why he's not doing it with Derek Chauvin. Anyway, here's the big news for our side of the internet. There is now credible evidence that former Reform MP Rupert Lowe harassed women, says KC. There's credible evidence the MP and 2 male members of staff unlawfully harassed 2 women. What's lawful harassment? I guess that's bailiffs turning up at your door if you've said something mean online. Yeah.
Is the police bashing your head in for a meme? No.
So, an independent KC has found credible evidence of unlawful harassment of 2 women by MP Rupert Lowe and male members of his team, Reform UK has said. She's been named. Yep, Jacqueline Perry? Yeah. KC, who commissioned by Reform, said that there was a veracity in the complaints from both women which amounts to credible evidence, to use Mr. Lowe's own words. Which, again, I always have to bring it up. Rupert Lowe saying that she repeatedly said there's no credible evidence looks even funnier now that that is her actual comment. Perry said the complaints of victimisation, constant criticism and discriminatory behaviour do seem to amount to harassment on part of both Mr. Lowe and his constituency team, so Mr. Lowe has actually been implicated. And it makes it even funnier that today he was making a 50-paragraph long post saying there's no evidence of bullying, there never was bullying, and now you have the KC saying, well, there was. So, there you go. Lowe has published a statement on X from his entire current team denying the allegations of bullying in his office. I think, interestingly, the KC actually says in the report that Lowe's account's mostly run by his team rather than him, which does kind of put a whole new spin on the situation, I think. It might explain why there's so many different stories from his Twitter account that I've noticed. Of he seems to change the story every other tweet, and that might be why, because it's actually different people trying to tell the same story, which is why I thought he was schizophrenic for a while, but obviously he's not. It's just his team might be. So, Lowe has published I read that. The statement read, the only issue raised within the office has been from these 2 individuals. This whole ordeal has been difficult on all of us. We don't want any of this. We just want to get on with our jobs and support Rupert, who's been a fantastic boss. There has never been any bullying. We will go on the record and say so, and have already done so. Okay. Perry went on to say that Lowe seems to have failed or been unwilling to address very real concerns or address the toxic conduct of male members of his staff. She added, the failures on the part of the women have been highlighted by Mr. Lowe and resulted in disciplinary procedures being taken against them. It seemed flimsy in the extreme and would have been unlikely, in my opinion, to have warranted disciplinary action, much less dismissal. They have the appearance of a defensive stance taken once the complaints had been made as the timings support. Yeah, because there was a claim that Lowe said they started making complaints after disciplinary action, and actually from the timeline it's the opposite way around. The discipline came after the complaints. Doesn't look good. I can just tell that a lot like adolescents, no one's bothering to read the KC report. It's kind of amazing.
I've just looked her up. Her up. She's so she practices in the UK, and also she's part of the California bar.
Right.
So she's also a California lawyer. She looks like an awful, insufferable feminist. She does a lot of work with trade unions and government departments.
Right. Well,
Human
yeah,
rights
I'm
crap.
kind of not.
I'm thinking.
shocked this
I'm
is why they
thinking
hired her.
she's an awful leftist feminist.
Is that what we're now going to go with? Is this going to be the new way to dismiss her?
I'm
Be
just
honest.
saying.
You're
I
just
mean,
saying.
California lawyer.
He makes a
Right.
good point.
Does he?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't change anything that's happened, but I think multiple things can be true at once. I
mean,
feel that
yeah.
there is just you got to
No.
realize there is political opportunities. Blah, blah, I can't talk today. There is political opportunism going on from every side, which is a true. It's like an eternal truism. So I don't necessarily mean that she's working in bad faith, but if she does have a lean towards a certain way, then this is a very good opportunity for her to push. I think that can also be true.
I don't. You think she's gone into reform? So it's
No, I don't
okay.
think that she's gone in with the sole purpose of this. But if she has leanings,
how she views things, yeah.
If she has leanings another way, then that could definitely be tempering the the approach. But at the same time, I don't necessarily believe that she needs to be malicious in this case.
I don't think she.
We all know activists, judges, and lawyers are a thing
They are
and
a
a problem.
Yeah, and it's why it's useful to have had Stedman in the Discord because he's kind of he swims in that kind of environment. I don't want to dox him too much, but he's training to get the bar. Even enigmatic's doing it. They're both basically saying that if you have biases, they're usually more subtle than what would be in this report. I think Stedman's been saying that there's some questionable conclusions. I can't remember exactly what they are.
Yeah, he said it was a bit. Yeah, he wasn't so sold on it.
No, he said he was not sold on a couple of the conclusions, but overall.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main point.
But this goes back to my point, which is that this is a complete malaise, and that there are not necessarily the KC, but there are definitely people trying to sink reform as much as humanly possible, and basically where there's a will there's a wedge, or where there's a wedge there's a way.
Don't worry, it's not flown past my head that the entire Tory party has tried to take aim on Lowe's side to attack reform on this. Most of the mainstream media have done the same thing. Half of GB News are trying to do the same thing. Guido Fawkes even have come out with like their thing today. The title of their article on this today was KC comes out with report attacking Rupert Lowe or something like that. It's like, oh, okay. Like there's a victim narrative that Lowe has pushed that a lot of people like in the establishment are completely going along with, and I'm quite shocked that typically right wing people that are like, oh, establishment doing something, notice. They're failing to notice that, or just willfully ignoring it.
Yeah, but I mean that they can, as awful as they are, they can be right sometimes. Like Labour trying to cut benefits. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and I've often said,
right.
I've said before that we're kind of going through the fracturing of the right, and what we need to be doing is consolidating. And I think that my white pill is that the right is consolidating, albeit in a very messy way. I just hope that they do it. I hope that it turns out better than it started.
Well, I know. But I know everyone's going.
We need to
go on.
I was just going to say we need to. We do have a problem with purity spiraling. We do have a problem with strange bedfellows, but we do need to get our stuff together because. This drama is only being pushed. It's only being pushed now because it's a wedge that can topple essentially the only party that we have that is. They are our only chance for the time being.
The way I put it is, well, I'd just rather be on the side that looks more serious about winning. Rupert Lowe's for 2 weeks has been basically all about him. Which it might be understandable if he has been slandered, but at least on the front of the bullying, as far as I can tell, what Reform originally said, which was, there's accusations there's been bullying in his office that he's not done his due diligence on. From this report, yeah, I think it's.
Can we say someone called her weird in a group chat?
Well, that was one of them. Well,
come on, like this is the bullshit that Reform should be fighting against, not trying to weaponize.
What do you want them to do? By law, they have to deal with it. What do you want them to do? Ignore it?
Yeah.
They ignore it. Lawfare against them from all of the left. Like, well, you don't have to. You've lost before you've even started. Ridiculous.
You can fight it. You can try to fight it.
Fight it how? They were going to do it quietly.
They're MPs. This is their job.
What do you mean it's their job? They can't. 5 of them can't change laws. They can't do that.
No, but they're in a position where they can at least make something.
What do you mean make?
Rather than just go along with it.
What would be your ideal outcome here? 2 women have made complaints. If you don't address them by law, you get unlimited fine or can have unlimited fines. What are you supposed to do? You can't just ignore it. What, you just tell them to go away? If one of the complaints from the women was Rupert Lowe just basically kept telling me to go away when I said when I mentioned that. Bear in mind, this woman had 15 years experience in parliamentary offices, by the way, and in Rupert Lowe's, she was like, there was, I think the story was one of the guys who was new basically took over and wanted to have all constituency matters go through him, which she was like, that's unreasonable too. I have experience here, so you need to do things this, that, and the other way. And he was basically, I think it was constant criticism and putting her down and things like that. And she's like, I can't do my job here. And so she went to Lowe to say, I can't do my job because of this. And Lowe basically told her to go away. That's what the KC report said. And so it's like, oh, yeah. Well, this is ridiculous.
It's quit, you silly cow.
It's quit. You can't. You can't do that. This isn't how employment works in this country. Right. You can complain about the law all you want.
I know, and
it doesn't work that way.
If I was an MP, you've got more protections as an MP. You've got more platform to sort of. You can go along with it, but you can at least kick up a fuss about how ridiculous this all is.
Well, that's what Lowe's doing, and it's not doing him any favors.
Right? Yeah.
It's not doing
because
him any
he doesn't
favors.
have any.
He looks embarrassing.
He's not got Reform backing him up, which they should be.
Why should they?
Yeah,
why?
Well, actually, I can sort of chime in on this, where this is where I had unease about the fact of Reform essentially folding themselves into pretzels about hope not hate. It seems that they are picking. I understand why they are trying to pick the sides that they're picking, and I understand the maneuvers that they're trying to do, but I don't know. I'm struggling to see it overly positively. Sorry, Tharium, you carry on.
Like you say,
you kind of get my point.
Any sort of push, leftwards push, they just fold instantly. That seems to be how they're operating.
Oh, yawn! Bored of it already. We've had this conversation. We've had this conversation week in
and
week out,
time
months,
and time
again.
It's
not. It's nonsense. It's still pushed by anyone. Like it's just crap. I'm done with it.
But it's not though, is it?
It is though, isn't it? What have they gone back on in the contract? Oh, it turns out nothing. Again, as me and John constantly go on about. I'm done.
I'm not sure how much. I'm not sure how much of that contract's still sort of the thing. I'm thinking.
This is another argument we've gone through over again. I'm done with it. You want to hear this conversation? Go to our last 5 episodes. I'm done.
I was fully on board with them, but just this whole thing is just making me down.
This whole thing where there's like 5 instances in the report of the KC basically saying Rupert Lowe stated this and it's not true. Here's the evidence I found. Like that's happened numerous times in the report. I'm done believing Lowe. He's a liar and a charlatan, and you've all fallen for it, and I'm done. If you fall for him again, I'm done. I can't be bothered.
Don't. I tell people up in Discord for this. Don't you all me, because I
don't mean you, Cero. Don't worry.
I know. I'm just anyway. But what I will say is that the thing that concerns me more is not necessarily what's happening now. It's the potential concessions for what might happen later. Yeah. And I'll say this part and then we can move on. But essentially, the reason that we got into this mess was because of, to coin the phrase, the long march through the institutions. And so if anyone's able to sort of stick claws or stick talons or into Reform, and they can sort of just hold on for the time
Are
being,
you okay?
then they can sort of.
Are you sure? You need a beer?
Oh,
Are
I
you
could,
sure?
I could actually
You can show
smash a beer.
Apologise to everyone for shouting.
No.
Yes, apologise to
I'll
me.
apologise to
I
you.
want an
I'm sorry
apology.
I'm not apologising to you. You've been putting me through this same nonsense for like. You're
is
my
it?
co-host. Tharium. We're talking about reform again. It's the same conversation week in, week out. Reform are going left. Oh, I'm done with it. Nonsense. That's what
It's not though.
shouted.
It's
Okay.
it not necessarily. I'm not saying no. How would I put it? I'm not saying it's happening. I'm saying that it's something that we need to
Yes, yeah.
consider as a possibility.
I'm not.
In the same way that the Tories kind of, that is the way that the Tories
No, I
want
know, I
went,
know.
and we don't want that.
I know.
But we
I
can
know.
move on.
Which is why reform need constant beatings and reminders to stop them going left wing, because otherwise they will.
It's not that deep. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, chill.
I get fed up with it because most people in reform, well, Richard Tyson and Nigel Farage, have been basically banging the same policy drum for nigh on 30 years. Now that they're getting power, they're obviously not going to go back on that. That's just obvious. Like people like Boris Johnson, who we all trusted, he was basically right wing for about 5 minutes, and we all trusted him because we thought he realised the way the wind was blowing. But you know, Nigel Farage meeting what's he called, Dominic Cummings, managing to get donors in and all that and become popular. You know, he's moderating the message because going around saying we need to deport everyone isn't going to get you votes. So thank you for the beer fund, Cero. No, it won't. I'm fed up with this as well. I'm fed up with this whole thing of the normies are actually based. No, the normies want a wealth tax. No, they're not. They want a wealth tax. They like their black friends. It's just it's complete nonsense.
I mean, the normie position is the National Socialist position.
I think two things can be true at once. The normies.
Yeah, I read it.
It is the wider audience. I guess what I'll call the wider audience paradox, which is that there are people in the wider audience who do actually genuinely feel this, and they are the silent majority in some respects, or the silent group. But at the same time, the only audience you can guarantee are the ones that you've got, and the ones that we can account for. So it's a bit of a black pill, but we have to assume that the only people that we've got on our side are the people that we currently have on our side. And then if the normies turn out to join us later on, then that will also be true, and then that will also be beneficial. But there is a chance that this is all we have.
At the end of the day, to win an election, you need the normie vote, and the normie vote is not this hyper racist. I want all like X, Y, or Z out. You know, it's criminals need to go, illegals need to go. Illegals never should be allowed in, and if any of them are scrounging, take the benefits off them. What's reform policy? All of that.
Well, that's what people are having doubts about.
No, that's what
Because
the only people doubting that are idiots online. I'm done with it.
No, it's because of Nigel's response to Rupert over this, and saying how Rupert is just this awful far-right extremist, which he really isn't. Like what you've just described is Rupert's position.
Yeah, but but as I keep saying, this was all about semantics, and it's like Reform's official party line was let's be specific about the message, and Rupert was like, yeah, but these absolute morons online keep going on about mass deportation and remigration. I want to start talking about that. Instantly, that's going to get him put in the same camp as people saying deport Kemi Badenoch, deport David Lammy.
Rupert Lowe isn't talking about remigration.
He's said remigration. He has said remigration in interviews.
Yeah, I mean, so's Trump, but Trump just means deporting illegal immigrants with that.
Oh, who cares what Trump says? Nobody takes Trump at his
word.
But
that's the thing.
I do a little bit.
Yeah,
but I'll stay out of this.
Yeah, it's just like Rupert's Lowe thing is illegal immigrants and criminals, and their families, which is fair.
So why does he have to? Why does he then have to go into the vagueness of it? Why does he have to go? Why can't he just say that?
I don't think he has been vague.
Yes, no. It's the most obvious Mott and Bailey in the world, and I don't know why it can't be appreciated. Mass deportation to anyone doesn't necessarily just mean deport the illegals and criminals. It doesn't necessarily just mean that, and that's
Well,
got to be appreciated.
I mean, the times I've seen him saying mass deportation, it's normally followed up with like illegal immigrants and stuff.
No more shouting.
Oh, it's gonna be shouting. No scorched earth. No, is it not obvious how mass deportation is the most obvious Mott and Bailey in the world?
A remigration is the Mott and Bailey, or at least remigration is the Mott, right? And
well, no, the Mott is illegals and criminals. The Bailey is everyone who isn't like.
I mean, like,
native
I don't
bred.
care about how you describe if you say deportations of all illegal immigrants or mass deportations. That's not what the point.
No, but
that's not
but what?
important.
So I
I know what you're
Rupert
saying,
Lowe
but actually, sorry, to Harion's
care? No, it's
point,
alright.
it is important how we describe it.
can't
I
be
mean,
specific.
the important part is of all illegal immigrants and criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is true, and that is ultimately what most of us want. I think.
Yeah. That's Rupert's position.
But how you go about it, and unfortunately, this is where the politicking and the optics, because at the end of the day, politics is optics and vibes. And if you lose on the optics, then it doesn't really matter. I mean, effectively, if you want to, I know that his name gets pulled through the mud, and he there's definitely a poisoned well with him. But the whole Rivers of Blood speech, all of that, what he was saying wasn't necessarily wrong. I mean, there were, depending on how you read it, you could say that he wasn't wrong at all. But the optics were horrific, and since then, it's essentially been a stick to beat the right with.
I'm not being funny. Even Politics Joe got this. Even Politics Joe, and they're full of morons. They understood that the issue with Rupert Lowe was that he started saying mass deportations, and that would include criminals and their entire families as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what they took away from it. And it's like, yeah, that's obviously just going to be too far for people to want to vote for that. It's
You talk about leftists. No, they don't. They're leftists. Of course, they're going to say that.
So what? So what if they're leftists? Like,
of course they're going to say, "Oh, deporting criminals. Oh, I can't do that." Of course, they're going to say that, but they're wrong.
No, but they weren't talking about their own opinion. They already think reform are racist. They're saying like the average voter's probably not going to like that. And I think that's true. I don't think the average voter's not a swivel-eyed loon who says every single one of them needs to go. It's not the average voter. That's literally just this side of the internet.
Right, and Rupert's not talking about that.
How? Yes, he is.
He's not.
Yeah,
he's not nearly as extreme as that.
the criminals and their families. He was on stage saying that.
Yeah.
So he did say that. So why'd you say he didn't?
Right. I think what you're saying, all of them have got to go. That's not what he's saying.
He's just saying the criminals and their families.
Mm. And if you put it like, oh, here's Ahmed, his brother and father were raping and torturing young girls. Do you think he should be able to? And he knew. Do you think he should be able to stay? I think most people would say, yeah, nah.
We don't know. We're actually not sure on that. No one's done the polling. And Adam Wren spent £800 basically to see if people like reform policy, and then started calling it mass deportation. It's pointless trying to normalise that word. I don't know why the right's trying to do it. I think it's a complete waste of money and energy. I don't know why people are so desperate for that magic word to be normal. It's crazy to me. It's such an own goal. It's total magic word syndrome. It's why I'm going scorched earth on it. If you cannot understand that this magic word is only detrimental, I don't know what to do for you.
It's not
Total
about the magic word.
Corbynista.
It's about what we're talking about.
This is literally all about the magic word. That's what this whole thing has been about.
For some people, it is. Yeah.
No,
for some people.
for Lowe.
I was going to say, I think that I guess Lotus Eaters is the quintessential example of they just want to hear the magic word. But should we move on?
No, I got more things to say about that. I'm joking.
No. I'm saying I don't mind if we want to carry on, and I know that I'm normally the one that goes on tangents. But I don't know if you want to carry on or whether we wanted to go on to something else, because this is actually an important subject, right? And it is related to the article.
The problem is I have been repressing my anger for about 2 weeks on all this. I think it has
You
been.
have been.
I think honestly, I've been relatively calm throughout all this. I cannot tell you how disillusioned I am with online activism at this point. I think it is actively people I respected a month ago have just been hysterical for 2 to 3 weeks over this. When we barely knew anything, now all the reports come out and we're still getting, oh, but you see, she's got the California bar. It's like, let's not dismiss this.
Yeah.
Let's not dismiss this. That's just going to make you look stupid.
Well, the thing is, like, what they're coming out with it's just all the nonsense we hate. That's the problem. And it's disappointing to see Reform just go full in supporting it.
I don't know if that's what's happening. I don't think that's what's happening. I don't. From what I'm reading, a bit of it's woman moment. Don't get me wrong, but it's
totally.
Right. I'll put it this way: a massive complaint. A complaint from Lowe was that he felt frozen out of Reform's upper management, whatever. And people were like, oh, it's terrible. Lowe's a great guy. He shouldn't be frozen out. This woman has exactly the same complaint. This one has the exact same complaint, and all of a sudden, oh, it's just nonsense. Like, why is anyone complaining about that? Just leave. Why is that not applied to Lowe?
Well,
Why is
Rupert
that not applied to Lowe?
wasn't bringing procedures and court cases against Reform for that.
So
Yeah. That's the difference. That's the difference.
So the difference is she took this complaint and made. By the way, I want to like. She's not actually made any legal complaints about this. This has been a complaint to Parliament first, and then because she's technically employed by Parliament, then it was a complaint made to Reform. And if Rupert's not complained about it to Reform top brass, that's his own fault then. But at the end of the day, we can't have people going on for weeks that, oh, Rupert Lowe was frozen out. I can't believe it. That's terrible. And then a woman complains about it, and then it's like, oh, she's a woman. Like, oh, that's just typical woman stuff. It's like, no, it's the same complaint. Like, it's been absurd, the arguments I've seen. Absolutely absurd, what I've been hearing. And I think a lot of people need to give their head a wobble and realise when they're also completely undermining their own argument. It's happened every turn.
There is also a difference when you're 20% of the MPs saying, in a political party compared to some staffer. Some staffer is less important. That's just
some staff is less important. Therefore, when she's frozen out of doing her own job, that's okay. That's okay and better. Do you understand why I think the arguments being made to me are absurd, and I'm going scorched earth on people like this? Can you understand why I'm fed up at the arguments back?
Do you understand why people are concerned, though?
Yeah, because people like Rupert Lowe. That's what it comes down to. They like Lowe. Loads of people have not trusted Farage for a while. People have been going on about his interviews and stuff like that, and they don't think he's the right man for the job. They all came out under Musk when he made that tweet. It's the same people doing this now. People just want to undermine Farage, and I'm done with it. If you want to keep losing, fine, but Farage is the only way to win. So, if nothing else,
they're just concerned. Go on.
As I see it, all of this is. I can't describe it better. This is still all to me just e-drama.
Yeah, and well, that's the other thing. Yeah.
I feel that we should be asking, how do we make England again? Yeah. And anything else is superfluous. If it's Rupert, if it's Rupert that will get us there, then that's fine. If it's Farage that will get me there, I don't care.
Well, apparently it's not alienating the Muslims.
Well,
wow, Trump did that as well. That's nuts. I can't believe he's acting like Trump. I'm done with it.
Well, that's the thing. If I can make England again, and it means not alienating the Muslims, then that's okay. If it sounds funny, but I have a very one-dimensional view on this, which is
I'd rather people have that view, but they don't. People's view is just the right wing's doing something useful. Can't have them doing something useful, or I lose out on my grift. Okay, I'll follow that.
The problem is that once Tharium is right in the sense that the details are important. The details are important.
The details are bad for Lowe.
Wait. I'm just saying that the details are important, but we need to focus on the big picture. So if it turns out that the Lowe has lied about everything, there needs to be, we need to essentially have acceptance and then move on. If it turns out that Reform trying to find the correct term for this because I'm not swearing on this. If they have screwed up royally, then we need to consolidate and move on.
Yeah.
What this whole scenario is doing is it's causing us to not consolidate and move on. We are fracturing and we are arguing about nonsense.
I mean, the good thing is that this is happening now.
This is
the
a
election is
a
still a
good
ways
thing.
off.
That's why I said that we are fracturing and hopefully we are actually consolidating. That is my prayer. Like,
Well,
we are.
I'll put it this way. I mean, me and John have been talking about this because we've been to some Reform IRL stuff. The general consensus, from what I can tell from people within Reform, is that Lowe screwed up. Like, one thing that was actually pointed out to me was, you know, when those chats of Farage's were leaked, and everyone was like, "Oh, this vindicates Lowe," which it didn't. It was like
Vaguely,
all Nigel Farage was really saying is that elections are coming up. Rupert Lowe's screwing it up. It's disgusting. Like, I'm thinking of the party. What's it going to do for the party? Think about elections. And everyone was like, I'm really glad to see that even in private, all Nigel Farage has on his mind is we've got to win. That's all Nigel Farage has on his mind.
Yeah.
And it's
but
clear that Rupert Lowe is hindering that.
But what is the point of winning if?
Oh, I'm fed up with that.
nothing
I'm
changes?
fed up with that argument. How many
No,
times?
this is why.
How many times? 30 years they've been banging this drum. What, they're gonna sack it all in once they get power? No, I don't think so.
Well, this is why they
Ridiculous
need to be
statement.
beaten into staying.
They
on
need
course.
to be beaten. Maybe they just understand politics better than us. Maybe we're nowhere in politics. We don't understand how to play it. Maybe they understand a thing or two about playing the game, and maybe that's why they're pushing 30% in polls. Maybe they just know what they're doing.
I would actually argue that you lads who enjoy playing your Crusader Kings probably know more than 90% of politicians. Unironically.
Oh, that's a completely different political game, though, isn't it? It's electoral politics.
I mean, well,
electoral
it's just
politics.
a matter of,
I mean,
it's just a matter of scale. But anyway, yeah, let's move on.
In Crusader Kings 2, you still need to appease the peasants.
Yeah,
Anyway.
That's why I said that you understand more than 90% of
Yeah.
people if you just do.
Anyway, that's like the 6th conversation we've had about Lowe and Farage. Jeez.
6.
Yeah, I
Bit more
know.
than that.
I know. Well, on live, I mean. Migrants will be put up in hotels for years yet, Treasury admits. The hotel bill for asylum seekers is £5.5 million a day, so the Home Office has been ordered to cut costs to crack down on companies profiteering. I always like how the Home Office are saying, oh, they shouldn't be profiteering. The Home Office signed the contracts and don't negotiate prices. So what do you mean? Oh, the hotels are providing a service that we're paying for. They're profiteering. Oh, God. Yep, I guess.
Honestly, if I had a hotel, I'd do the same. I'm not getting any actual customers. I've destroyed my entire customer base of people who might have visited, say, annually. You're going to have to rebuild. Oh, sorry.
There have been a couple of hotel owners I've seen who they've been approached by Circa for these huge contracts to host illegal immigrants, and they've refused because they don't want them in their community.
Based.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, I
Based to
can't
the
argue
age.
with that.
Yeah,
Because nobody wants these people here.
yeah, but this is actually an argument against private property, and none of the communists are making it because they just love the asylum seekers. Treasury advisors tasked with finding annual savings of $4 billion targeted at Home Office spending on migrant hotels in an audit launched earlier this month. A Treasury document setting out its plan said that global instability made it inevitable and that illegal migrants will continue to come to the UK, so demand for temporary accommodation for them would endure, especially as there were other pressures on the housing supply. Oh, this is a great line. It said that the government's commitment to build 1.5 million homes in England by 2029 would help reduce the use of hotels for asylum seekers.
Yeah, because they're all
Implying-
going to be filled with
Yeah,
foreigners.
implying that the new houses, a portion of them is going to be put aside for asylum seekers. Incredible. It's just such a clown. It's just such a clown thing. Like, listen, I know if you're going on about reform, even at their most cooked, they would not be like this. It's just,
Well,
it's just
again,
nuts that this is going on.
not to go too I'm only going to dip a toe back into the last conversation, but the thing that terrifies me about this kind of thing is for lack of a better word, the deep state. And this is going to be all of this arguing that we're having now. That's nothing in comparison to if reform actually get in, how difficult it's going to be for them to actually move the gears to to turn this aircraft carrier of an economy round. Because these are the people who are actually making policy, and these are the people we actually need to worry about.
Well, if you're in government, you can do anything. Labour is at the moment, Keir Starmer is a dictator. He can do anything he wants. He's got the votes for it. That's the thing. Like, our parliament is very strong if it wants to be.
Well, you say that, but then I don't have an article on it. But I think the PIP cuts might actually break like human rights laws or something like that. So,
and they can change that.
Well,
that's the thing. Any laws, any sort of laws that go, this breaks that law. The Parliament just goes, no, we changed it.
The thing is, it's been pointed out to me before. Like you do, I think Reform have actually said this before. But you are basically going to need, like they had in the mid 1800s. You're probably going to need a Great Repeal Act where there's just a load of you. Like the problem with like trying to repeal the Human Rights Act is that there's been acts post that rely on it for that law to work. So you're going to have to audit your laws to find out everything that's affected, and then make amendments to all those laws to make them still work as they need to without the Human Rights Act. You've got such a cobweb or brambles of an issue here that it is actually a bit more it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. Yeah. I'm saying it's a bit more difficult than just get rid of the Human Rights Act, get rid of the Equality Act. Like it's a bit more to it than, well, a hell of a lot more to it than that. But it's something you could probably do over like 3 years of your parliament. And Labour aren't going to do that, obviously.
I mean, Trump managed to do it in like a week.
Well, executive orders are a little bit different.
Yeah. I know. But it's more the will of it, right?
Yeah, because Trump has less power than our parliament.
Yeah, he does. Well, a lot of what he's done's been passed by the Supreme Court. Yeah, we don't. Our parliament doesn't really need. Well, hopefully parliament
doesn't need to worry about that.
Hopefully parliament just gets rid of that.
Isn't our Supreme Court like a week old or something?
It's 20 years old.
Yeah. Effectively.
It's a Blairite thing,
Yeah, David Starkey's very keen on just abolishing it, which Parliament could do.
Yeah. Anyway, asylum seekers each now cost £41,000 rather than $17,000 that they were in 2020. Bear in mind, inflation's basically doubled since then. It's not that bad, but inflation's been pretty bad. Anyway, I'm fed up of being blackpilled on this. Nigerian dating conman won't be deported because NHS is treating his family.
Great.
I wonder who the judge was on this one. Emmanuel Jack, 35, was jailed for 3 years in 2014 after he tricked 6 women he met on dating websites into paying him £186,000. Is he Nigerian? Yeah, he is Nigerian. It's your Nigerian prince, sir. His Lonely Hearts ruse would see him targeting vulnerable women while posing as an architect and convincing them to send him thousands of pounds. How did he manage? Like, what did they... Okay. 8 years after he was jailed in 2022, Home Office decided to deport Mr. Jack and send him back to Nigeria, the country he left with his parents when he was 10. But he launched a legal challenge claiming it breached his human rights to a family life under Article 8, and it's because they're being treated by the NHS.
You know that it was some NGO who told him. You know the people that work with how to bypass the system. You know that it was someone like that told him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely will have been. This is what I mean by brambles and mess. Like, okay, you got your parliament, but you'll have so many people trying to make lawfare against certain acts of parliament that's going to be another pain. But we'll see how it goes.
Again, with the will, you just go nope, and that's it.
I don't think it's quite that simple. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's a lot more difficult than I think a lot of people grant it. But I'm sure Tory Rebut will have things to say on that. And if he does, I'll just ask when the Tories do it then, and then hopefully he'll hopefully that 30% threshold will go over, and we'll never hear from him again.
BTFO'd.
Yeah. Well, quite. Anyway, you get the idea. Wife and children being treated by the NHS, so he can't go because it's cruel or something. Don't care. This is
It doesn't mention what they were being treated for, does it? Because you could say it's something like anxiety, I bet.
Just tell them you hear voices.
Doesn't
Like,
yeah, it doesn't actually say. Oh no, it does go on. Their third youngest child was born prematurely and has serious developmental issues, so requires specialist NHS care. His daughter, 6, suffers from eyesight problems.
Oh, she's got glasses.
Well, I was thinking that. The tribunal ruled it would be unduly harsh on the children for his family to be deported. For the family, well, it'd just be him being deported.
I mean, Nigeria is not mud huts everywhere still. They do have medical care.
Well, I know. But it's this whole thing. Oh, they're already being treated here. If you take them off, it's a risk. It's like, maybe, but
I don't really care.
it was just like the whole Rwanda thing where people were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you can't send them to Rwanda." Oh, why
No, I
can't you
don't.
send them to Rwanda?
I don't have the article.
What's wrong with Rwanda?
Labour are planning to do the same thing, but throw them to the Balkans instead of Nigeria. Instead of Rwanda. It's like,
The Balkans, eh?
I hate Labour so much.
I mean,
Rwanda, can't do that. Balkans, though, great.
Remember
Amazing.
the part of the Rwanda deal, which was where we'd take all the retards.
What do you mean? Was there?
As part of the deal, is like it was a back and forth agreement. Remember, it wasn't just us sending them; they'd also send us all like the retards and stuff that they said they didn't want to cope with.
I think I remember.
So
remember.
wait, could I ask them to deport me? But I'll say that I'm not actually dating a Lithuanian anymore. So could I get like just to the west of the Balkans? I could just go to.
Why are you trying to deport yourself? Just get yourself a ticket. What's wrong with you?
Well, because this way they'll pay me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get so much money if I get deported instead of just leaving. If I leave of my own accord, I have to pay for the. They're going to try and what was it? If I strike gold and make some money, then they're going to charge me to leave. Whereas if I get deported, I get paid to leave. The system makes some sense.
I'm going to revoke your citizenship, sir.
Oh no.
No.
Anyway,
I'm revoking yours first.
Anyway, onto the feel-good stories. So, Paddington statue vandalism was antithesis of everything the bear stands for. It's just
Little fucker deserved it.
I read the actual sentencing notes or whatever it was on this. I could not believe what I was read, and I hope it's quoted here. So, the action of 2 RAF engineers who broke Paddington Bear statue in half and stole it from a bench are the antithesis of everything Paddington stands for, a judge has said.
Heroes. Absolute heroes.
Daniel Heath and William Lawrence, both 22 and engineers at RAF Odium in Hampshire, have been drinking on a night out when they damaged the statue in Newbury, Berkshire at 2 a.m. on March the 2nd. CCTV...
Sorry, just really quickly. I became so cynical in my old age. As I've gotten older, I've become very cynical. Now I became very unpopular for saying that. What was it? What was it? It was Mary Poppins was essentially communist propaganda, and now I'm thinking to myself, Paddington Bear was just what was it? It was just a psyop to try and
get people on side with immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, am I smart or am I crazy? I don't know, because
you see,
you
see the truth. Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's
there
like,
was,
like in is it They Live, the one with the glasses?
yeah, the
I can't
dust.
remember.
Yeah.
I feel like I put them on and take them off, and they're both equally retarded.
I mean, we did. There was. It might have been Stella Creasy. One of the Labour MPs the other day did do a tweet going about we'd never have immigrants like Paddington Bear. It's a fake character, you idiot. But then she's using Paddington Bear to say how great immigrants are.
Yeah. Oh, I don't understand why Paddington is. I know it's because the 2 films came out recently, but it's so ridiculous to me that Paddington Bear's like the model immigrant. Are they so stuck for finding model immigrants they have to use a fake bear?
Yes, they are.
Is that what's
Actually.
actually happened? Just
Was it like when Miss
crazy.
Piggy was? What was it? Was it Miss Piggy that was like
Sex symbol of the year.
like? Yeah, that was. It's just like,
Oh,
Oh, I made that up. Was it? Was it
no,
actually?
no, no. It was something like that. It was like Woman of the Year or something. I need to try and find it. I
God.
can't remember if it was like Time.
I mean,
Oh, was it?
Miss Piggy's better than Bruce Jenner as Woman of the Year.
You're sounding very close to that Andrew Tate bit with Megan Fox with a penis or a Hulk Hogan with a vagina.
Well, that's the thing. Miss Piggy is at least an actual female.
You'd rather,
I mean, a puppet female.
You'd rather shag a puppet with a flashlight. Actually, I'd rather
Than
do that.
Bruce Jenner? Yeah,
actually,
I would.
fair. I'm with you. Anyway, CCTV footage played to the Reading Magistrates Court showing two men approaching the statue on Northbrook Street before trying to rip it off the bench. And they got him.
Yeah.
The statue seam were part.
Oh no, it was a feminist. It was a feminist. Was it Miss Piggy to receive Outstanding Woman's Award from Brooklyn Museum? Yeah, sorry, it wasn't Time, but it was a sort of feminist adjacent award.
Still. So the statue seam where part of the mould had been joined together broke, and the men walked off with a section of the statue, the court was told. They carried it through the town into a taxi which took them back to their base. Heath from Thornton... Go on.
You see, I like it that these two absolute RAF gigachads were doing a private deportation of this illegal immigrant.
He wasn't illegal immigrant, that's true.
Stick him on a Hercules and fly him back home.
It's so funny, it's like... I think... I can't remember... Was it on Laughing at the Guardian I was saying it? I can't remember. But, yeah, because... what's he called? Tory Rebuttal was saying, you had, like, polio in the 70s or something. I'm like, yeah, okay. I definitely want to just inject polio into kids' eyes to get back to, like, 70s aesthetics. That's definitely what happens. It's like... Now we're having to say, yes, I would deport Paddington Bear, whatever. It's a stupid argument. I'm gonna give you a stupid answer on it. Heath from Thornton in West Yorkshire and Lawrence from Enderbury in Leicestershire were given 12-month community orders and fined £2,725 each on Tuesday after admitting criminal damage. I mean, save our statues and all that based.
I'd get rid of the illegal immigrant statues, though.
I think Paddington's fine. District.
I hate that Parliament Square has all these foreigners up as statues.
You got a problem with Mahatma Gandhi?
Yeah.
I actually always find it odd that he has a statue there.
Right. Someone who worked against us.
Yeah,
was an enemy of the British Empire.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
Quick question: we have Nelson's column. Do we actually have a statue of Nelson? I can't remember.
He's
on the top of the column.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay, it is. Am I thinking? I was thinking of a different one. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
but
you can climb on top of it in Assassin's Creed.
I forgot about that in Syndicate. Yeah.
You just bounce up that.
Which is the one I'm
thinking?
thinking?
You can climb
of.
it. You have Assassin's Creed Syndicate had that stupid mechanic where you could just bypass climbing buildings with a launch rope or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the stupid mechanic that I think it's the plot? But anyway.
Well, Syndicate's plot was.
The last good one was Black Flag. Changed my mind.
Yeah, that was the last one I played too.
Give you that.
Well, Black Flag, yeah. I played Valhalla for my sins and forgot to refund it.
Actually, Assassin's Creed Unity is surprisingly good, actually. Anyway, District...
That was pre-Black Flag, I'm pretty sure. Was
no,
it?
Unity was the one after.
That was after,
yeah.
So
after? Okay, I'll let you have Unity.
Anyway. District Judge Sam Guzzi condemned their actions as an act of wanton vandalism and added Paddington Bear is a beloved cultural icon with children and adults alike. He represents kindness, tolerance, and promotes integration and acceptance in our society.
This is why he had to go.
His famous label says, "Please look after this bear." Like, this was said in an actual courtroom in Britain, by the way, and I don't know how this judge is not embarrassed.
Support this judge as well.
Can I just point out, I don't think he ever paid for a single sandwich.
No, he scrounged them as well.
Typical illegal immigrant.
Yeah. On the night of 2nd of March, your actions were the antithesis of everything Paddington stands for. How dare you stand where he stood?
You must just be. They must have just been thinking, it's a fake bear. Like,
I'd be shocked if no one was laughing in the courtroom. Your actions lacked respect and integrity, two values you should uphold as members of the armed forces. That's fair enough. I don't mind. I don't mind them being punished for this. Like I don't want the face statues all over Britain, so I'm fine with them being punished like this. But it's a ridiculous comment to make. It's an absolutely.
Which is the one that got dumped in Bristol River, or Bristol?
No,
Edward Colston.
That was Edward Colston, and they got off. By the way, they got off because
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
they got off because was it Hindi Andrews, I think, was there as an expert witness.
Something like that, yeah.
The defence was basically that, black people feel uncomfortable with this statue, so it was actually self-defence for them to take it down and throw it in a river. That was their defence, and it worked.
I take it I'm not allowed to feel like that about politicians.
Well, it's the ridiculous thing, isn't it? Like, just nuts that defence worked, but there you go.
Yeah. If you tried illegal immigrants make me feel uncomfortable. That's why Paddington Bear had to go.
It's what I mean. It's what I mean. Like, you can take down anything with that defence. Anyway, it cost $5,500 to restore. That's why they were fined that much. And there he is in the police car.
There was that guy after the Edward Colston thing got off, who went up to the paedophile statue in BBC headquarters and started defacing that. Okay, well, this makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, why wouldn't it work?
Yeah.
This is why the whole sort of vibes based prosecution that sort of came in with the whole hate speech stuff. It's kind of, it made me feel this way, or it made me feel unsafe, or you can't say this because someone might feel a certain way. That's why it's essentially a useless thing, right? It's too broad to be useful. Anyway, I'm not going to start ranting about that, because I feel like I started ranting about that in 2010, 2014.
Yeah, quite. Anyway, let's finish with the funny one. British Airways pilot back in the skies after snorting drug off a woman's breasts before flight. My God.
Living the good life.
At least it was off a woman's breasts and not off a man's erect penis. That's what I would say. British Airways drug tested and sacked the married dad of one when the incident was revealed. Beaton was partying in South Africa before he attempted to pilot a flight from Johannesburg to London. I've been a very naughty boy, he admitted to his flight attendant friend.
Whose breasts did he snort off?
Well, you know what? Let me get through the article and we'll find out.
Okay.
Because I'm interested too. BA were forced to cancel the flight, costing them around $93,000 according to the outlet. Now the pilot is back in the cockpit flying for a foreign carrier European cargo based in Bournemouth. Oh my God. Usually the Civil Aviation Authority suspend a pilot's medical certificate if they have used drugs, and they assure that it would only be reinstated if they were completely satisfied. Aviation source told the newspaper, "I think it's disgusting that he was allowed to fly planes after what he did. The CAA should have banned him from the flight deck for life."
I'm pretty sure a lot of pilots are taking drugs.
Oh yeah, and to be fair, he's probably more focused afterwards than before.
Yeah. Like I say,
he's probably in a very good mood as well.
Yeah, saying they take the license off all who'd like take them. I mean, once you get caught, maybe.
Are they going to do the same for politicians?
Let's hope.
Could you imagine you go into Parliament one day and just do a surprise drug test?
Yeah.
So
it would be awful.
So it was revealed his messages to a friend after the incident where he partied in a South African nightclub. We all staggered back up to the hotel bar for one last one before bed. Welsh and one of these guys is getting on very well, but she's told him that I'm her boyfriend. A couple of drinks at the bar, bit of snogging, and then we're somehow all on the way to this dude's flat. Welsh has decided that I should actually be her boyfriend. Spanish was hooked up with one of the two local lads and having her tit sucked on the sofa. What a night. I've lost my shirt somewhere, and one of the local lads produced a plate with a few lines of coke. So there's a debate about whose chest is the best to do a bump off. That's the story of how I end up snorting coke off a girl's tits in Johannesburg.
What a lad.
Oh, those crazy flyboys, what are they like? Goodness me.
But it's like Harry always says, it just appears. I not even just Harry, I've seen it happen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not partaken, I'll say. But how? It just appears. It just appears.
I know how. Well, I've found out how it's happened in Britain. It's because somehow.
No, I'm not going to say it.
It's those Paddington bear types, isn't it?
Something like
Bringing
that.
all their cocaine with them.
Right. Anyway, I have produced our bingo card because we've not done it for some time. And we probably should really. Yeah, that's not too distracting, I think. So. Oh, you two can't. Well, no, you two can see if you look in the threads of.
Yeah.
I'm also watching the stream as well.
Oh, that's fine then. So, I think it's about time we cross some more of this off. To be quite honest with you, because
Jordan Peterson still hasn't cried yet, so
not as far as I'm aware.
saying,
Yeah,
it's not looking good for you there, Aaron, is it? It's not looking good.
Well, hang on now. I never thought Jordan Peterson would cry. That was very much a John one.
Was that a John one? Okay.
Yeah. So
okay,
we'll go,
John, cope and seethe.
We'll go top left and kind of do it in order. So climate change doesn't happen. Still quite early, too early to tell that. Though I will say Wales did have the warmest spring equinox in record, so maybe climate change is happening. Reform gains sixth MP.
I mean,
Well,
we're -1 at the moment.
yeah, honestly, going through this probably shows why we should just never be trusted with takes. Ben Habib joins Homeland. It's actually more likely.
Hasn't happened yet.
It's more likely he'll just make his own party, but we'll see where it goes. Recession. I'd say we have to wait until. I can't
3
see the
months.
economy growing, to be honest with you. So I would say that recession's probably going to happen. Is it 2 quarters for a recession, or is it just 2 months?
I think it's 2 quarters.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's 2 quarters, 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth.
So we're probably
But
not.
I would,
We're probably not going to be able
I
to
would
actually
argue-
crush that off yet.
I would argue that we're already there, but it just.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm pretty
be
sure they're
patient.
fudging the numbers.
We'll be
Yeah.
patient.
Yep.
We'll be patient. Starmer no longer leader. That's looking more
holy
likely by the day.
Yeah.
War is over. There are ceasefires in the talks.
We're getting
Yeah.
there.
We're getting there. Major reshuffle is pretty much on the horizon, from what I can tell.
It's on the horizon, yeah.
Reformer is still topping polls. Musk dumped, not quite.
Nope, not yet.
Trump's gone and bought a Tesla, so
Oh, there you go.
the opposite of that at the moment.
GTA 6 bombs, don't know yet. More
We don't know
riots.
yet.
We need to wait for summer for that.
More riots, though. Are we talking about just in this country? Because have you seen some of the stuff that's been going on in like Turkey and
Oh,
was it
Yeah,
Turkey?
I think
We
it's
only
just
mean
us.
here. We only mean here.
Yeah, because there's been some mad stuff over there. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that should have actually gone into foreign. That should have gone into the foreign news slot.
Well, fair. Yeah, didn't Erdogan like get rid of a mayor or something, and that's why they're.
He
Go
got
on,
rid of
nuts.
his political. Basically, his the guy who people wanted to vote for, essentially his political rival. He essentially arrested him and then made it so that he was ineligible to run for
Right.
yeah for politics.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, riots. Well, to be honest with you, when it comes to riots, that could be in line with the recession thing, but we'll see. Next up is more tax rises. I think, as much as they keep saying it's
Yeah.
not going to happen, spring budget. If there's any tax rises, that's.
Oh, I thought that they already confirmed that they were going to.
No, they keep
But
they
to be
keep trying to
fair-
say they won't. See.
I mean, do we include the was it the not VAT but the income tax, but on the employer side?
No,
or was
because
this
that happened
after that
last
point?
year. Yeah, we made
Yeah.
we made this big. Well, it's 2020. We have to have tax rise in 2025, and that was a tax rise last year. Trump assassinated. I don't know why we put that on. I still think that was a stupid one to put on.
An attempt, I think, is fine. If someone attempts it, we can cross that off.
Yeah. We'll go with an attempt. Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, depending on how things went with the what was it, the Kennedy files, then depending on how things went that way, it was a possibility.
Well, the Kennedy files just didn't really show us anything new, from as far as I'm aware. Anyway,
No, not what was released anyway.
Trump bombs Iran. Well, he's bombing
yet.
Yemen.
Almost.
He's working his way. He's working his way through the Middle
Yeah.
East. Yeah.
He dumped the Iran's people. Iran's proxies have been bombed.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
Anyway. Stelios leaves the Lotus Eaters.
Not yet.
We picked the wrong one.
I did see him on I did see him on one of the recent videos, and man, I'm pretty sure he's like the same age as me, but he's got a lot more greys than I do.
Well, you would do living in Swindon. Islam
Yeah.
Party surges. We'll see. John
I
Peter.
don't know what the numbers are on that.
Reform have been doing quite well.
Oh,
So,
I knew that was coming up. I'm just.
I was just like, don't do it, don't do it.
I'm not rising to it.
Don't get baited.
John Peterson cries, not happened yet. Another pandemic. I'm still not sure why we put that on. But well, bird flus.
They tried to, they
animals,
tried to
isn't
kick
it?
off with the whole bird flu thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have it yet. We'll have to wait till winter for that. Sturgeon sentenced. She's actually innocent.
yeah.
She's cleared of all
Yeah.
charges,
Oh.
so that's a shame.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Reform gain control of a council. See about that. Reform win against Tommy. Are we past that point yet? I think. Or is that war still
Why
ongoing with the
wouldn't-
low, do you reckon?
I don't really know what we would class as the win. You know, do they?
I mean, yeah, it's
mean, I
all
don't-
just sort of blew over, didn't it?
Yeah, I'd call that a win. They're still going up in the polls. Well, they went down in one today, obviously, but they've been going up in others.
The whole thing was silly because like Tommy never wanted to join Reform.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. There were admin posts. There were admin posts of him saying should Reform like change their rules to let Tommy Robinson join. Like, yeah, it's disingenuous.
He said that?
Yeah, it's on his. It was on his Twitter. He did a poll of like should they change the rules to let me join. Poll of it. It was back in like December or something. It's like anyone who says he didn't really want to join, it's
Well,
just crap.
yeah, maybe.
It's nonsense. So, anyway, Reform. I mean, to be honest with you, I think the whole low thing's kind of to do with that anyway. So we'll see how that goes. Common blackouts. We had that with Heathrow, but we need more
yeah.
than one.
Okay.
Tom
Well,
Robinson.
hold on. Cero the other day lost his power, right?
That wasn't. It was a little while ago. I think that was actually what inspired this blog. That was a complete blackout in my area, but that was the same day that we made this this thing. I do get
Or was
I
it
do
just
get
the
ISP
internet?
out.
Yeah,
I do get ISP outs. A complete power cut. The last one I had was when we made this bingo sheet.
Oh, there
But
you go.
but don't hold your breath.
That's not good. I think Heathrow is kind of
we-
the first, and then we need.
My
kind of three for a
ISP
pound.
goes down semi often, so I'm not sure if you class that.
I'm not classing that as a blackout. It's just your ISP being bad. That's not power cuts.
Well, it might as well be, considering that I need it for my job.
I'm not counting it. Tommy Robinson gets arrested. Can we count his his
I
hearing?
think so.
Do we count
I
his
mean, isn't he
hearing?
in solitary?
Well, he's supposed to come out this year, and we thought he'd get arrested basically straight away.
Oh, no.
That was why we put that there. But I think if he actually this hearing that he's had, if he actually gets a longer sentence, I'm counting that.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's had the sentence yet. Illegal migration up. Oh, we can cross that off. That is up. Oh, that's the wrong colour. Hang on. Let me just cross that off, update it, and then we can save it wherever it's gone. Should update the thing in a minute. Is it a JPEG? It's a JPEG. Yep. There we go. Illegal migration up. Hooray! When we hopefully we have like a week in August where we can cross everything off, but we're not quite there yet. Right. Anyway, I think that'll do for today. Thank you very much, Sarah, for super chatting me. You're already in the chat, but you know, still, thank you for the beer fund. If anyone else would like to super chat, obviously you have the option to do that too. Don't know if I'm doing any more streams this week, but I am making videos, so they should be out as and when. Tomorrow is obviously going to be a video on the Rupert Lowe report. As much as I went off on one today, it will still be rather unbiased. Oh, it's not unbiased, you're a fanboy. No, go away. Go away. No, not
Look,
having it.
Even if you think we're retarded, the low
What do you mean
supporters are not
think?
the enemy.
No, you are. Like you
No,
are.
we're not
You
the
are.
enemy.
You are actively
No.
undermining reform. Like you're trying to undermine reform. Like that is enemy. that is not a friend. I'll put it that way. And there's a distinction, I believe. Anyway, I'll go through it and give you my take on it. It'll be hopefully not too long. I'm going to have to go through the whole thing, though, so it might be a long one. We'll have to see. Anyway, thank you very much, chat, for being involved as usual. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join the Discord and all that. Next week, it's going to be Tosh Talks, so I'll need to put the poll up. God, I'll need to do that. I've got a lot to do this week. But I should remember to do that Friday. So put your suggestions in the Tosh channel. Already done my video thing. Laughing at the Guardian next Saturday as well. Don't know who the guests are. We'll get on to that. Right, with that, thank you very much for joining us, Tharium.
Yep.
You can say thank you for having me on, jeez. And, and thank you.
I thought I'm a retard. I'm a retard.
Yeah, you are, but you can still thank me. So, thank you for
I'm kind of
coming on as
retarded.
well. Thank you for coming on as well, Cero.
You are very welcome. Everyone, remember to like, favorite. Well, no, it's not favorite anymore. Jeez,
It's not been
like 10
favourite
years
for
old, eh?
about a decade.
I was gonna
probably.
like, comment, subscribe.
Give
There
it
we go.
5 stars. Give it a 5-star rating.
5-star rating. Yeah.
Well, also, the amount you call me an R word, Tharium, I'm not taking this of you, right? Anyway.
I call you gay more than I call you retarded.